Welcome to the Explainer. We love to break down big topics, and today we've got a really cool one, the incredible story of how the internet has evolved.
And that quote really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Because this isn't just a story about code and servers. Nope, it's a human story, all about connection and creativity. It's this living, breathing thing that, we all helped build.
So, to really get a grip on this journey, we're going to use this fantastic metaphor. Let's imagine the internet as a city, one that's been growing and changing over time.
All right, let's jump in. Our story starts way back in the early 1990s. Picture it. The internet is like a brand new town, and it's pretty quiet and simple.
So, this first version of the web, Web1, was really what we call the read-only web. It was basically just a bunch of static pages. Think of them like digital signs nailed to a wall. The information was there, but you couldn't really do anything with it. It was a one-way street.
And the folks who built this town, people like Tim Berners-Lee, they had some pretty basic tools. You had HTML, that was the bricks and mortar for all the buildings. Then you had the first browsers, like Mosaic and Netscape. Those were kind of like the carriages you'd use to get around. And to find anything, you had these early directories, think Yahoo or AOL, which were basically just simple little town maps. And here's the key thing to remember about this town. You were just an observer. You could look, but you couldn't touch. You couldn't really leave your mark or, chat with anyone else who was there. You were basically a tourist just passing through.
But of course, that quiet little town wasn't going to stay quiet for long. Something big was about to happen. We were about to see a massive shift from just passively looking at stuff to actually getting involved and participating.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the mid-2000s. Suddenly, those quiet little streets just explode. The town becomes this massive, bustling, super energetic city.
And what defined this new city? One word: interaction. All of a sudden, everyone had a voice and a place to use it. The internet wasn't just a library anymore, it was a living, breathing metropolis.
This is where all those platforms we know so well come in. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. They became the new town squares. We weren't just citizens anymore. We became the storytellers, the performers, the architects of the city. We were the ones creating the content.
But, and this is a big but, there was a catch. This amazing, vibrant city, it came with a hidden cost.
See, the city's whole infrastructure was centralized. What does that mean? Well, it means a handful of powerful city planners, you can think of them as the big tech companies, they owned everything. They owned the main squares, the maps, the theaters. They set all the rules, and they collected data on everything everyone did.
And that realization led to a really powerful question. What if the citizens actually own the city?
And that question, right there, is what brings us to today, to Web3. This is the vision for a smarter, fairer city, a city that truly belongs to the people who live in it.
So how does that even work? Well, the blueprint for this new city is built on a few huge ideas. First, you decentralize power using blockchain so there's no single ruler in charge. Second, you get true ownership through things like NFTs, which are basically like digital property deeds for your stuff. And third, everyone gets to govern together through DAOs, which are kind of like citizen-led city councils.
What this all boils down to is that in Web3, you are in control. Your data, your identity, your creations, they're all yours. It's a total game changer. Okay, so we've just taken a whirlwind tour through these 3 different eras of our internet city. Let's step back for a second and look at the big picture of this whole journey.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. In Web 1, the quiet town, our role was to be an observer. The key idea was just having access. Then, Web 2, the bustling city, we became participants, and it was all about interaction. And now with Web 3, the smart city, the goal is for us to be owners, and the key idea is empowerment.
You see that progression? Observation to participation to ownership. That's the story of the internet right there. It's the story of how our own role has evolved, from just watching from the sidelines to actually becoming the architects of this whole digital world. And that leaves us with one final thought. This new digital city, Web3, it's still under construction. The blueprints are there, but the building is happening right now. So the question for all of us is, are you going to be a resident or are you going to be an architect?